Welcome home all. So this is a shortened or abbreviated form of Cheap Date Night. So officially we're back. If those of you guys are with me from last week, we recorded a Cheap Date Night and put it out for you as an introduction to let you know we're starting again and we're back up and running. So tonight is a cheap date night. It's always cheap if you're here with me for free, right? So it's a cheap date night, and we'll do a few things that we normally do until we get back, probably by next week, to our guests, having guests on the show, talking about culture, talking about entertainment, talking about all the things that should commonly bind us and put us together and make us, get to a good space without all the political, because those are different and separate shows, and those easily go in a bad direction. So we'll get back to that original format. So for tonight, we'll keep it simple. And I had my thoughts on say what we used to do, where we would talk about TV, movies, music, etc., and then other forms of entertainment or art that strike and that need to be brought out or focused on and paid attention to, in which case you have your guests, etc. So not doing that tonight, but I do want to point out, because I did say last week, I've been watching a lot of TV on the different streams, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and a variety of others for just content. And I've got an ulterior motive too, by the way, and I'll just sidebar here for a second, but it's also to learn on my part, okay? I don't understand or don't know a lot of things, and there's the rub, right? You're not supposed to talk about what you don't know. Wrong answer. Just tell the damn truth. That's why people don't like people. They just talk and don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I don't know that much, or didn't know that much. I'm learning and getting more when it comes to the entertainment side of producing, watching, showing, making, filming, directing content for a camera and to put out to people at large. I don't know that. I didn't know that. Learn a lot over these last 2-3 years. I really have. So I'm learning and appreciating the other side of it, other than me just getting up here and talking to some people and having a good time, right? But I have learned a lot more. So I'm watching shows and content with a more critical eye on, damn, how did they do that? Or how was that filmed, etc. I find myself doing that. Now, for the record, and let's get that clear before we get started here, I'm not trying to be an expert on this. I don't have the ability to go back in my DeLorean 30 years and do all this stuff and learn it all. Can't do it. So I have to rely on knowledgeable people that know what they're doing, and I got to trust a little bit, because that's a good thing too. Still got to trust people. And then still learn as much as I can for me, for what I need, for what my purpose is. And we're definitely getting there. So watching a lot more content, watching with a more critical eye, and definitely appreciating more of what's done to put that product out in its finished form. Okay? So having said that, so I'm going back, and this is on the movie end. I'm going back, and this is going to be a task, a chore. I'm going back and watching every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie right back to the beginning. This is the difference. We're doing them in chronological timeline order. So let me start with you. So what have I watched? 2 nights ago, I watched Captain America, because that takes place in the 1940s, World War II. See how it goes? Chronological. 2 days ago, I watched Captain Marvel, which is set roughly in the 90s, early to mid 90s. Again, chronological order. And then last night, so 3 nights in a row, last night we watched Iron Man, the first one. So, and again, that's much closer to this time. So 1940s, 1990s, and now into the 10s, or the zeros, with Iron Man. So I've watched the first 3. I'm going to watch all of the movies released in chronological order for the Marvel Cinematic Universe leading up to Avengers Endgame, the 2-part finale with Thanos, the Mad Titan, and the Infinity Gauntlet. So most of you guys have already seen this, but I'm literally going to go watch them all over again, because listen, you always get something that you may not have caught the first time, maybe because you're in that movie theater and your son's elbowing you, give me some popcorn, right? Or maybe you watched it at home and you're not quite paying attention because you got a phone call. You guys all know that's real talk, okay? It's the real thing. And again, I don't lie and sugarcoat things. That's the truth. So I'm going back and trying to get all these little things that maybe I missed, and for a second viewing, to truly understand the scope and grasp of what Marvel, and for the record, I'm an old comic goon, what Marvel has done in direct opposition, if not controvertibly to DC Comics, because DC Comics has Superman, DC Comics has Wonder Woman, DC Comics has Batman. They've got great characters, as good as any in the Marvel Universe. As powerful, by the way. Superman is, SuperMex is the gold standard when it comes to superheroes, and he's DC. However, DC, the comic book company, not Marvel, those are the two main ones, DC and Marvel, those are the two that I grew up with. DC does not have, or did not have, and I'll say it, the foresight to comprehensively put all of these moving parts of their universe, the DC universe, together for one finished product. And Marvel did that, and they're reaping the benefits in a big way. They're just that far ahead. Fortunately, DC still has those characters, right? They still have those characters, those frontline, A-list, Action Comics, Superman 1, going back a long time ago, before World War II. They still have those. They're still there, and they can still put that together. I absolutely believe that. I think they're trying. It's not as good as Marvel's, but maybe it will be at some point. But I'm optimistic. I'm not a Marvel or DC guy. I'm a comic book guy. I'm a superhero guy. I'm a SuperMex guy. Okay, so I believe in both. So I think that's what's coming. So anyway, I am watching all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. If you have Disney Channel, then you can watch all of them in chronological order. All of them. So that's what I'm going through now. That's quite literally my cheap date night talk to you when it comes to movies, is I'm watching all of the Marvel Universe movies again, and we're going to get up to Thanos and Avengers Endgame, and then after that you have more. So for the record, and I'll stop here after this one, I did watch, and fortunate enough to watch, Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson. And highly recommended. Highly recommended. I'm just putting it on air right now. It was pretty damn good. The one thing you do know that you will not miss the boat on with Marvel is there will be no shortage of kick-ass action. The action and the CGI, it's A-list, it's frontline standard, it's the most that you can get, in terms of cost and quality. It is that good. There is no one better at doing big budget, high quality, intense action and beautiful video scenes than Marvel. There is none. So Black Widow is that. Incredible fight scenes, incredible activity, action, good storyline. It's a full 2 hours plus. But one thing that I'll throw in there for my audience, those of you guys that watch the show, coming back now, I didn't see this coming. But the interaction, interplay, and dynamic between Scarlett Johansson and the character, or the gal who plays her sister. She has a sister. You have to watch the movie, but she has a sister. It was funny as hell. It was funny as hell. And so as my wife tells me, I don't get the sister dynamic because I'm not a sister. There you go, real simple, right? But I'm not a sister, but I don't get that. But it was funny as hell watching two sisters go at it. Verbally, obviously, and physically, than once physically. But for that alone, the dialogue and the storyline with the two sisters and the family as a whole is worth the damn watch. It was a good movie for that alone. Never mind, again, all the big budget and the cool CGI scenes, the cool action scenes that cannot be trumped or bettered by any other entity in making a movie. So absolutely recommend Black Widow. So Black Widow is after Avengers Endgame, Thanos, etc. It's all tied, but I just watched that. I watched Loki the series. That's TV, so we're moving into TV now. Loki, the series. I'm a big fan of the guy who plays Loki. Big 6'9" tall, light-skinned white guy, English, Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston's a really good actor, very good actor. I think it doesn't get noticed because he's the good-looking, tall English guy with the cool accent that everybody likes, right? The women like. He is that too. I'll never forget him in The Night Manager. If you get a chance, go watch that. That's an older, it was about 2018. The Night Manager, great series with Tom Hiddleston as lead. Anyway, Tom Hiddleston is Loki. It was different than what I expected, but a really good interplay and look back at what Loki was and what Loki is or could be going forward. And that's unique to me because for the record, my favorite character in the DC universe is SuperMex in the DC universe, and my favorite character of all time, and not a lot of people know this, maybe some of you that are loyal followers, my favorite character in Marvel has always been Thor. All right, and I put this on record once before, no shame in the game now, but Thor, because he was like 6 foot 9,000, muscled all to hell up to his ears. His ears had muscles. Blonde, blue-eyed, good-looking dude that was all powerful. And I grew up a little Mexican on the west side picking grapes and chilies, and I was small and little and brown and dark and picked on. So I wanted to be that guy. True story. See how that works? That's culture affecting life, and life being a result of that culture. I'm not that guy now, nor do I want to be, but it's a learning process. So I always liked Thor, and because I like Thor, I always liked Loki. Even though he was the god of mischief and kind of the god of evil, I always thought he was misunderstood. And in today's world, misunderstanding is the name of the game, isn't it? Taking something that was traditionally thought of as something and then giving it an alternative look, and maybe that guy really isn't the bad guy. Maybe he was aggrieved. Maybe he was the person that wasn't treated fairly. Maybe he got robbed. Karate Kid, that series is another look at that kind of thing. So anyway, let me stop there. So that's movies, TV, Loki, all within the Marvel Universe, for starters, and that's on Disney. So you can get that on Disney Plus, available to you if you have that access. And you can get those movies anyway, even if you don't have Disney Plus. There are other ways to get it. You can, purchase for a smaller amount. Probably not cheap, they're not. But they're available to you. So that's what I'm doing now in terms of movies. That's what I'm doing in terms of TV. And last thing before I finish up here on this abbreviated, shorter, cheap date night, let you know what I'm up to and let you know what you guys need to go watch. Music. You do know music is a massive part of my life. It was growing up, and then I left it for the first time for an ugly reason. I had no choice, and it was something ugly happened, and I couldn't do it anymore. And then a second time, into my early 20s, I was there again, and I was getting to music and singing and being a vocalist and working with musicians and building, growing as a musician, working the vocal. And then that kind of went away. I'm back. Love that Eminem stuff. But I'm back and working on some personal stuff with music. I've got a young guitarist who, and I'll put it out now, put it out early. He's a guitarist, but he's working on Spanish guitar and other forms for me of music that we are going to begin to not just take other songs that we like from all kinds of different genres and cross-section and mix them and match them and change them and alter them, but also create some original stuff too. So there's my music for you. I haven't been listening to a lot of the current stuff. I will, again, pretty soon, just to get back up to speed, because the year's going by quick. We're half a year already, and next thing you know, we're going to be at the end of the year, and I'm going to have to be doing my top 10 shows for you guys on the music of the year. Anyway, okay, so that's it. That's Cheap Date Night for you. I want to thank you guys for watching, as usual. We're getting back. We're getting into some stability. You guys know I'm a military guy. I have my stability and continuity. Once I'm locked in and I'm set, you will get it on a consistent, stable fashion every time we say we're ready to go on this same night, same day. And then additional stuff. And we'll just be bringing a lot more to you in terms of content and variety of content, not just say me, but other people as well. Okay, so nothing but love for all you guys. There will be some additional that we work on with my new producer slash director slash mentor in the film world. He's really trying to pull me out and process some of my expertises or skills and the knowledge that I have on particular items that make me a little more unique and have the ability to comment on things that are current and now, but in a much more targeted and specific fashion. And that's good. That's good. It doesn't allow me to talk about a million things. It allows me to talk about a thing that is pertinent, that is now, that is current. So we're going to be releasing that content too, and it'll begin answering some questions you may have today about current topics, but again, in an abbreviated, specific, targeted format that you can just watch, know, and move on. Really good format, okay? So that's coming too. Again, number love for you guys. I will see you next week. Keep an eye out. There'll be more content coming. Number love from SuperMex.